Alright, folks. Welcome to the only geriatric gaming channel in the natural known universe and the abnormal known universe. The Ancient Gamers. That's us. I'm Widied.
I'm Pfarcus.
And we are here to talk about something. Something that is taking over the entire internet, or at least a very micro fraction of it. And it has to do with gaming. What are people talking about? What are we jumping in on people? I can't remember who talked about it. I saw a video online. Somebody, I can't remember. One of the millions of videos I watch. Yeah. But what were they saying?
Yeah, they were talking about whether or not
what are these?
A real gamer.
Oh, so that's a doozy. So, this is where my age is going to come in. We're going to call this gaming topics. We're just too goddamn old to understand. Because I don't understand these topics. And,
gosh darn.
But I want to talk about it because it's interesting now. But I don't understand it. So that's the thing. So what makes a gamer a gamer?
They play games. The end.
Okay, we actually do have an episode for you folks. We're not just totally going to end it on that note, but we probably could. All right. This whole discussion made me feel old, like when I watch these videos, because I'm like, why do people care about this stuff? And anyways, we'll get into that. Okay, so genres versus other genres. Are you a single player person? Do you hate the people that play RPGs or RTS, real-time strategy games? Are you a guy who plays on console? Do you hate PC Master Race? Those guys do deserve to be hated, so I understand that one. Second, do you play story games? Do you hate competitive gamers, online gamers? Do you like retro games? And if you like retro games, do you hate modern games? Or are you a modern gamer who hates retro games? Anyways, there's apparently a billion of these battles that make no sense to anybody other than the people having them, I guess. But anyways, the point is, these do exist. And there is this sort of a gatekeeping, I guess, that's going on. And that's kind of like the more important vibe, and I think that's why this topic is sort of just dated to the beginning, is because I guess people don't like to be gatekeeped. Maybe that's really the reason.
But I think people are kind of obsessed with kind of protecting their own little categorization of what they feel is their kind of their baby, right? Like, be it the music they love or the type of movies they love. And I think people get a little out of hand being like, this is not a real horror movie, when it's like obviously not supposed to be. Something like Twilight.
They seem to get that way extra online. Like, when you meet somebody in person, and they're like, it's like my wife. My wife plays video games. I consider her a gamer of sorts. Like, she's maybe not as hardcore as I am, and maybe that's another part of the description. And maybe the more important thing I think is like, the only thing I think people need to determine is, do they play games? I think, honestly, it is that simple. We weren't just, I know we started this whole episode with a gag, but the gag is really the point. I think it's honestly, that's as simple as it is. Like, do you play video games in any capacity? Then you are a video gamer, because you are a person who could face the stigma of playing a video game.
Yeah, I think part of the reason, and you used a good word for it when we were talking about this before, where you talked about like the tiers of gaming. I think there is such a thing as tiers of gaming. Like, there's the casual gamer versus like the esports guy who. Yeah. And I think it's fair to say, like, but I think, even
maybe they're more of a gamer.
I wouldn't even say more of a gamer. It's a little bit like the difference between a guy who can play guitar versus a guy who gets paid to play guitar.
Yeah, we would still consider them both. That's a good point. You can still consider them both to be guitar players.
Yeah.
Even if one's just going.
That's the sound I make when I try to play guitar. Even the discussion of like, are retro games harder than modern games? It's fun to speculate and kind of talk about that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, do you have fun when you play the game? Yes, no? Okay, well then that's the game for you. Yeah. And,
And I say I'm not a retro gamer, and I know many times on the channel we both said that we're not retro gamers, but we are.
Well, we've played through all of the retro games.
Even yeah. I still do play it. I just don't obsessively play it.
I don't really go back to them, but I've played through a huge chunk.
Yeah, but you have even played like some games. I mean, you're like me. You're not actively hunting them, but I know you've played some retro inspired type things. Even even modern sense, right? And like Meat Boy can even be an example. That's kind of a retro inspired game. But like we're not actively hunting it, but it doesn't mean we're not retro games. I think because I have played all those games, plus I do play retro inspired games, in a sense I am a retro gamer. I know I can speak to everything. I don't know why people are so obsessed with categorizing.
I think at that point then it's like you like pop music, you don't like metal music. Does that matter? No, not really.
That people get obsessed with sort of the categorization and the sort of like the fighting that comes along with it, because I think that's kind of like an interesting point. I know some of the videos that I'd watched also honed in on the fact that the PC Master Race were particularly like...
I think they're the most aggressive gatekeepers.
Dirty console gaming peasants! Just ignore him and he'll go away.
And I kind of agree. Like, I think they're ridiculous, and I forget who said it, but one guy or one person said, they're a dick or something, called them out for basically doing that. And I just laughed because it's kind of true. Like, when people get that way, it is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. It's actually utterly ridiculous in any aspect of those conversations, like console versus whatever. For anybody to be really aggressive on one side, it's just stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And even thinking about it, there's a little bit of gatekeeping that happens online with gaming that doesn't even make sense in other genres. Like, can you imagine, like, I only like retro movies?
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure there is people like that.
There's going to be people comment below if there's like channels about only retro movies. Yeah, I want to know about these. I'm probably never going to watch them, but whatever. I don't know. Like, I understand the internet's impetus to like just be really nichey and like the more niche you are, the better. But sometimes it gets ridiculous.
I think it boils down to. Don't get me wrong, we love you, YouTube algorithm. We love you deeply, but I think
let's do our sacrifices.
Exactly. Do you believe?
I
believe. He believes. Hallelujah. Amen. God bless. Amen. Hallelujah.
Did that get us one view? You tell us.
Yeah. But I think it boils down to that, where like everybody's trying to make something searchable, and so you have the difficult games or the retro games or the blah blah blah, and at the end of the day, it kind of makes it makes it a little facetious because it's the only platform of Can you imagine like board games having the same sort of categorization where it's like, I only play retro board games.
I don't even know how you could categorize that. I only play dice games. I'm sure there are. There probably like somebody's like, how like there's the board games where you play against the other person, but there's like games like Pandemic where like you play against they're probably like, I bet you there's like this.
Those are real board games.
Elite hardcore guy who's just like, I only play Pandemic. I'm too good to play other people. It's like, what the hell is your problem? Like, and that's what I get with all of these discussions. And so like, I know that people want to like quantify and be like, I'm about 49.9% gamer with a little 22% sprinkle collector, and just stop. None of this exists. You like to play games. That's all anybody ever really needs to know, including yourself. You just don't know.
I think the only category beyond that does matter, and it only matters in a specific instance, is the idea of professional gamers. And the only time that matters is when you're applying to the tournaments.
And I think that was like a point that you said about like having like I think that's the only really meaningful gradation that you can really apply is, are you a casual gamer? You're still a gamer, but you're a casual gamer. You're not trying to make a career of it, because when you're trying to make a career of anything, you're trying to take it to the next level by nature. And you're just being like, it's not to disqualify you as anything. And I think people are always constantly trying to like validify what they're doing over somebody else. I think that's like the real, the lizard part of the brain that's just like, I must conquer you. I am the alpha.
You've never seen anything like me. I am the alpha of alphas. I am the apex of apex predators. I am death, destroyer of worlds. I am the demon wolf.
I game more than rocks.
My game's much bigger than yours.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like no matter what, humanity is constantly searching for that. And it's funny that it even happens in hobbies. Like, it's insane. It should be the most relaxed thing anybody's ever talked about. You should just only be smoking J's and playing video games and calling it a day.
Snakes in the grass.
If that's legal in your country. Well, I think part of it too is everybody has a different taste in games. So some people do actually prefer the more competitive side of things, and it's kind of, I think that's where it becomes kind of the shtick is by nature of being competitive. You're like, oh, when you play Kirby, you're not playing a real game unless you're playing.
The people that do play
Sekiro.
Kirby aren't playing real games, though. That's my way. We do make jokes about this a lot of time. If you follow the channel, I do bust against him being Xbox and me being PlayStation 5. But it's absolutely entirely a joke. I own most consoles most of the time, as does Pfarcus. And, it is literally like something we're always going to poke fun of on this channel. It's like, I believe in just nothing. I will play a game on anything. Give me a watch. I will be that gamer whenever time. If they make like a Zelda 35th anniversary Zelda 1 watch, I will own it and I will be a watch gamer. I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap what anybody thinks about that.
Actually, this is a little bit off topic, but I actually just downloaded a collection of horror games that actually has one stylized like the gaming watches with a little boop, boop,
Oh, nice. So, yeah, I think, honestly, like, I can't weigh in on any of these individually because they all have the same problem, fundamentally. Is that they're just, honestly, just trying to, it's like...
Do you like metal or do you like jazz?
Yeah, it's so subjective. Yeah. It's like music. You can't have a real meaningful discussion about music. I don't know if anybody's ever paid attention to this, but have you ever tried to, like, sit down and meet somebody that actually has the 100% your taste in music to to finally vilify that you have the best taste in music ever? It's never going to happen. Like even the people with the best taste in music, me clearly, I could tell you, but it's probably not going to be the exact same as what you like. And there's a reason. But it doesn't disqualify you as being a person that enjoys music. The same thing is like if you play any game. Like I would even go so far as to say mobile gamers are gamers.
Candy Crush counts. I stick to my guns. The Candy Crush counts and stuff like that.
The only thing I think, like, we could bring a definition of what gaming is, and it probably is accurate. I think like a dictionary description of what gaming is good enough because I bet you it's vague. I bet you it's like, hey, do you play the games? You're in. Like that's all there's going to be, and so this idea is just too young. My old brain can't handle it, can't understand it. It melts at the mere idea. I've gone through all my life thinking nothing about this. Like, not once have I ever played a game, except for when I hear people talk about it, have I ever thought of myself in any other light as being... I barely think of myself as a gamer. Like, it's just recently that this whole gamer wave thing happened, that you identify as it. But, like, overall, like, I like playing games. It's an awesome hobby.
But I think it also... There's this weird obsession modern society has with in fairness, I think it's just a part of human nature to try to identify and categorize everything. But there's definitely been a modern push towards like how you identify.
Yeah, maybe that's like a modern thing. It's just like, oh, geez, everybody's
I'm a
trying
gamer,
to find
I'm
a badge to wear.
Left wing, right wing. I'm a Christian atheist or whatever.
How about you just a human dude that you like to do some things every now and again? Like play a video game.
I'm just Pfarcus. That's how I identify.
Yeah, we don't like that though. So, I agree. I think there's like a push from society just kind of like... One of us, one of us, one of us. One of us type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think social media and all that stuff doesn't really help, honestly, because that's what it's like. Even, I hate to say it, even YouTube is kind of like it's about community driven stuff, and a lot of that stuff does carry out. But like, I think... What's more important than what subsect of gaming you might own is the fact that you are a gamer. And I think the broader community is really what counts, because whether or not people really realize that there is a stigma of gaming out there against everybody to some degree, especially from like older generations and stuff, but it still exists. And I don't think we do ourselves any service by fighting about silly things, about how much of a percentage of gamer you are,
how difficult the games are.
How difficult the games are. We just read an article, and I know but it does kind of pertain to this discussion about how there's one person, I forget what it was a Twitch streamer who said that basically she was being made fun of for only playing games on easy mode. And so I actually agreed with a lot of her thoughts, as did you. Yeah. And she was just saying, like, listen, back off. I play my games on easy. That's the way I want to ingest it. Screw you hippies. And I agree 100%. But the article that picked up and ran tried to make an article
Yeah, they were saying, like, should easy mode be normalized? And it's like, just play the game whatever difficulty you like. If you like a challenge, play a challenge. If you like an easy mode, play the freaking easy mode.
Like,
Who cares?
That has to be the most ridiculous call to action I've ever heard in my entire goddamn life. Like, who gives a shit? And like, honestly, if you're a Twitch streamer and people are bugging you, who cares? Just laugh at the people that are bugging you.
Yes.
Like, honestly, that is just ridiculous. That people, it is. She's 100% right. Like, who gives a rat's ass? Like, but we shouldn't. But on the flip side of that, I don't agree with the article. The article was going, we should normalize easy mode. Blah blah blah. This is a cause. The victims are people who play video games at easy.
Yeah.
Bullshit. That's nonsense. It's like a call to action that doesn't. It's not. It's unnews news.
You are fake news.
Like, and this is something that's like plaguing society.
Somebody said they don't like popsicles on Twitter. Oh my god,
I hate that
cancel him.
person. It's so stupid. And like, and this call to action was just ridiculous. You know, if you play games on easy, play games on easy.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Nobody can make you not do it. We don't have to normalize anything. It's already normal.
Yeah.
The people that are on Twitter saying stuff are not normal. That's what you need to understand.
Yeah.
You're doing things as you should be.
Well, not only that, like, on the flip side, if you play Sekiro and it's like just kicking your ass and you don't like that struggle, stop playing Sekiro. Go play Kirby's Dream Land or whatever.
Yes, or whatever.
Or something that has an easy mode.
Like some easy retro game or something.
Yeah. There's this crazy thing where, like, the genres you love, there's other ones.
Yeah.
And they're just as valid.
And that's what's funny about this discussion in general, too, is because I actually do get, like, why there are genres of things, why we categorize things by story games and competitive games, why retro games exist, why modern games exist. I get why all this is, and I even get why people gravitate to one as their favorite, and they just want to talk about this little baby, it's the little gem of their life they polish and show the universe. Right? I get all of that, but what I don't get is the gatekeeping portion of that, where people are like, but if you do that, you're not a gamer. Nobody ever said that was even a thing. They are obviously a gamer. Whatever aspect of this they adopt. If they only play story games in their bathroom on the Switch whenever they get a twins, that's their gamer. Fun. They play competitive, you know, if they're freaking Sonic Fox kicking people's asses in fighting games for money, they're a gamer. Like there's if your mom's playing Candy Crush on Facebook, is a gamer.
Xbox stop. Xbox play Bejeweled.
Like, there's really nothing complicated about this argument. We can argue to what degree, for sure. Like, casual, professional, I get all that, but that doesn't validify anybody or downplay anybody else's role. Or it's a hobby at the end of the day. Well, and some people have it as a job. That's the difference.
Well, I think at the end of the day, there's something very specific with gaming that's kind of inherent to what it is to be a game. And the first rule of being a game is, are you having fun? Are you having fun?
Yeah. If
you're having fun, then the game is a good game. Yeah. It could be tiddlywinks or throwing cards into poop.
Okay, our audience isn't going to know what tiddlywinks are. Well,
it's the thing where you bounce I don't know how to describe that thing.
It's like some tiddlywink, like
championship.
You know, some really elitist tiddlywinker out there.
That's the only game.
He's like, you don't flip it like that, Pfarcus, you idiot.
Because someone I work with collects sperm from chimpanzees, so it's very nice to be a champ winker, and I'll leave him to do the other half.
Leave a comment if he doesn't know how to play tiddlywinks. I think he doesn't. I think he's making this whole game up.
I used to play as a kid, but I don't really remember how it...
It's like Pogs. You remember Pogs?
Yeah. Wasn't that basically tiddlywinks with like...
You kind of like had to click the... I don't really know.
Wow, this is getting off the rails.
I collected them because they had Star Wars, I think, probably.
Yeah. Well, I think they were a little bit of a money pit version of tiddlywinks. I want it! I need it!
So yeah, people... On that note, drop us a like if you liked this content, if you agree with all our old man rants. Or
disagree.
Or if you disagree, still like us, because that's the only option. Leave a comment telling us what you think. If we got it all wrong, maybe we need to hate the PC Master Race. There's probably some truth there. Subscribe and hit the bell and all that good stuff. And on that note, people, just play some damn games. Don't care about what people tell you. Just do it. and pick up a controller, flip a few people a bird along the way, and start a Twitch, whatever.